Hello, today we will be reading Miss Lilly is Silly, My Reader School 6, sorry, not 6, 3, chapter 5 and 6. By the way, I hope you have a great holiday. It's almost Christmas, 6 days left. Miss Lagrange is strange. Chapter 5. Andrea grabbed her notebook and a pencil. Then we went slinking down the hallway like secret agents. It was cool. "Isn't this exciting, Arlo?" said Andrea. "We're like real investigative reporters. I hope we get some good interviews." I have an idea," I said. "We should sneak out of school and go home. Then I could play video games for the rest of the day. Nobody would ever know we were gone." "Shh," Andrea said. "I think I hear somebody. Hold my hand." "I'm not holding hands with you," I told her. "Reporters don't hold hands." "They do if they're in love," she replied. "Ugh, that's disgusting. I thought I was going to throw up." We snuck around the corner where I spotted an open door. "The vomitorium," we both said. The vomitorium is where we eat lunch. It used to be called the cafetorium, but then one day some kid threw up in there, and it's been the vomitorium ever since. The only person in the vomitorium was our lunch lady, Miss Lagrange. She's from France, which is the country where they eat frog legs. Bonjour, said Miss Lagrange. That's French talk for hello. "Lunch will not be ready for an hour. What can I do for you kids?" Andrea got her pad and pencil ready so she could take notes. "We're here to dig up some dirt," I told Miss Lagrange. "Well," she said, "there's dirt in flower pots, in the flower pot on the windowsill." "Not that kind of dirt," Andrea told her. "We need a scoop." Miss Lagrange picked a scoop out of the sink. "Here," she said, "you could use this scoop to dig up some dirt from the flower pot." "Not that kind of scoop," said Andrea. "We're making a school newspaper, so we need to interview you," I told Miss Lagrange. "Tell us something about yourself that nobody knows." Miss Lagrange said. Grown-ups always say when they're thinking. Nobody knows why. When I was a little girl growing up in France, my parents owned a restaurant. Miss Lagrange started telling us all about her parents' restaurant. It sounded like it was going to be boring, but Little Miss Perfect was writing down every word in her notebook anyway. Andrea said. Go on. "Well, one day, Miss Lagrange said, I was in the restaurant eating my lunch. It was soup, a nice tomato soup with little crackers, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I thought I was going to die. Who cared what kind of soup it was? This was the most boring story in the history of the world. We were wasting our time interviewing Miss Lagrange. So I was drinking my soup," she continued, "when I saw the reflection of a man's face in the soup bowl. So I asked, bored, and do you know whose reflection I saw in the soup?" She asked. "Who?" asked Andrea. Elvis Presley," Miss Lagrange said. "He walked right into our restaurant and ate lunch there." "Wow," we said, which is Mom upside down. "Now that's a scoop," Andrea said. "Let's go tell Miss Lilly." We ran all the way back to our classroom. Miss Lilly was sitting at the computer. She had already typed the elementary century on the screen, and below it was blank spaces where the articles would go. We told her about our interview with Miss Lagrange. "That's great," she said. "This could be our lead story." Then she typed this out in big letters. "Lunch, lady sees ghost of Elvis in soup bowl." Chapter 6. The Truth About Mr. Docker. Miss Lilly was really proud of us for the scoop we got from Miss Lagrange. "Great work, you two," she said. "Now go out there and get us another story like that." "Will do, Chief," Andrea said. We slinked down the hall like secret agents again. After a few minutes, we got tired of slinking, but we bumped into Mr. Docker. Our science teacher. He was coming out of the bathroom. We're doing interviews for the school paper, said Andrea. Can you tell us something about yourself that nobody knows? Said Mr. Docker. Let me think. Like, maybe you have 2 wives, I suggested, or you saw Elvis in a soup bowl? No, nothing like that, Mr. Docker said. I guess I led a pretty dull life. It just work all the time. It didn't seem like we were going to get anywhere with Mr. Docker. He was boring. What do you do when you're not working? Asked Andrew. Oh, my wife and I like to exercise together, he told us. We go running every Saturday. I even won a race last week. Really? Andrea said, writing it all down on her pad. That's exciting. Did your wife run in the race too? I asked. Oh yes, said Mr. Docker. She did very well. She came in 3rd place. We need to make sure we have all the facts right, I said. So you ran in a race over the weekend? You came in 1st and your wife came in 3rd. Is that right? Yes, said Mr. Docker. We even got free t-shirts. Great, I said. Thanks for giving us an interview. Mr. Docker went to the science room. Andrew and I rose back to our classroom. Isn't it exciting that Mr. Docker won a race over the weekend, Arlo? Andrea said. This is going to make a great article for the paper. No, it won't, I said. The story is boring. I have a better story to write. When we got to our classroom, Miss Lilly was at the computer, working on the elementary century. I told her we had another big scoop, and she said it would be okay if I typed the headline on the computers by myself. So I typed this. Mr. Docker beats his wife. You can't write that, Arlo, Andrea said. That's a horrible thing to say. Mr. Docker doesn't beat his wife. He does too, I said. They were in a race. He won, she came in 3rd place, so he beat her. It's right there in your notes. Miss Lilly asked Andrea. What do you say? Andrea looked at Miss Lilly. Miss Lilly looked at me. I looked at Miss Lilly. Miss Lilly looked at Andrea. We were all looking at each other. You could have heard a pin drop if any of us had been holding pins. But why would anybody bring pins to school? That would be weird. This is front page news, Miss Lilly finally said. Great job, AJ. You're a natural reporter. Thank you, I said. I looked at Andrea and stuck my tongue out. Thank you for watching and reading with us, Miss Lilly Silly. Thank you for reading chapter 5 and 6. If you haven't seen our other chapters, go check that out right now, and our other books. And we will be making more videos in the future. Goodbye.